Hello there, I'm Ryan Arey, and this is my favorite Halloween memory. So, when I was a kid, growing up in the 80s, I remember I was in Kmart with my mom. She was pushing me in the cart, and we came through the costume aisle. And there's like different, things that are popular around the time, like Superman. This is like a little pre-Ninja Turtle, so it's like Thundercats. And then I saw the He-Man costume, and this thing was perfect. It had the mask with the slits in it, and had the thing on the front, and it also came with a sword and a shield, and it was perfect. And so I started like begging my mom, please, can I have this, in hindsight, what was a really cheap plastic He-Man costume? She's like, no, we can't afford it. Because we were, by the way, so poor. We were incredibly poor. Grew up in a trailer park, like the whole bit. And I'm like, I grabbed the costume, and I was carrying it with me in the cart, and my mom's like, you're not gonna be able to get that, but I'm smiling like, yeah, I will. And I remember this old lady seeing me carry this thing, and she was, oh, that's gonna be your Halloween costume. And I was like, yes, it will be, ma'am. But of course, we got to the front counter, and mom's like, no, we're not, I told you we're not getting that. And I just cried and cried and cried, because I couldn't be He-Man for Halloween with this great costume with the sword and the shield. So my mom said, look, I'll make you a He-Man costume. I'll make you a He-Man costume. So this was all building up to my friend Chad's Halloween party, which was a costume party. And it was going to be so cool because I was like, if I'm going to be He-Man, then I get to pretend to be He-Man all night. And I get to like fight other people as He-Man and stuff like that. So for me, Halloween was great because it was just one giant play pretend. So the night of the Halloween party comes, my mom shows me this costume she's made. And I don't know if you've seen the show He-Man, but it's just like a bare chest with these X's, with a bandolier, and then grassy, like barbarian shorts. So to make my He-Man costume, my mom took a pair of my tighty-whitey shorts and like fastened grass to it somehow. And she couldn't sew. And I don't remember, she just held these up, and I was like, I'm not wearing that. And I could tell it like hurt her feelings a little bit, but she understood because you can't really send your child out in their underwear. So instead of like He-Man, I was like, I'm gonna be He-Man. She's like, no, here, do this. And she gave me like a tennis shirt and tennis shorts and handed me a badminton racket. And I said, well, who's this? And she said, you're John McEnroe. And I said, who's John McEnroe? And she said, he won the Davis Cup in 1985. And I'm like, I didn't even like cry, or I'm like, well, I guess this is my option. I got to just go with being John McEnroe, who I'd never heard of before, and I'd never even seen tennis. So I go to Chad's birthday party, and there's kids there. There are He-Man, there's Skeletors, there's all these kids playing like pretend and being Ram Man and Stratos and Merman, all these different other hyphen man characters from the He-Man Masters of the Universe show. And then there I am in a tennis outfit with a tiny badminton racket, and every kid says to me, well, who are you? And I'm like, I'm John McEnroe. And they said, well, who's that? And I'm like, well, he won the Davis Cup in 1985. So the reason that's one of my favorite Halloween memories, because I always think about that and like how my mom, who's like this most wonderful creative person, was able to basically take this, what could have been a really tragic night, and she still found something to work out of it, And come to think of it, it was kind of awesome that all those other kids were just different characters from like store-bought things. And I had this like weird creative thing that my mom did. Plus I used that racket to like bash people and stuff during fights. So it all ended up working out. And that is my favorite Halloween memory.